Caught with the bottle. Caught
Yeah.
with the vodka. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Forgotten Horror Podcast. I'm Davey Dark. As always, I've got my best friend, my horror hombre, Carlos Eastwood for life fan. How are we doing, Carlos?
Yeah, we are good. Back with another finger licking episode.
Fresh out of the gym, I see, Carlos. You're looking good, mate.
A little bit, yeah. Back with another, like I say, another finger licking episode with this 1987 vampire western horror movie.
This one, Near Dark, has got all elements which ticks quite a few boxes, doesn't it? So I was always under the impression that this was 1986, and then doing a bit of research on it, because I saw this before Lost Boys. Now, because the VHS days was all where we grew up in, I wasn't aware of Lost Boys at the time. But I did see Near Dark, and I thought, right, okay. One of the things that drew me to this was obviously the front cover. I did have the X rental. My dad got rid of it, but I did have the hands on the. Can you remember the original VHS cover, the X rental? And it captivated me. The cover art again, and I thought, what is this? And then the video show, it's a vampire film. He worded it, he said, this is a vampire western. And I thought, oh, okay. Now, back in 87, 88, that was a new concept, wasn't it? A vampire western.
Yeah, I mean, I think Near Dark, this is my Blu-ray of it.
Brilliant.
Which is not the original artwork movie poster. I think these vampire movies, Near Dark, it came on the back burn on the success of Fright Night and The Lost Boys. So we had some good, also Vamp was another one that came out around about that sort of time.
Oh.
But this one was kind of a little bit more of a kind of an underdog of a vampire movie, because those other movies had a bigger budget.
Obviously, far bigger.
The Lost Boys was put together by Warner Brothers, and it's got that big Rat Pack cast. So this one was always kind of a little bit in the background. A smaller budget. It didn't really do particularly well at the box office, but I've always had this as a bit of an underrated vampire gem. Obviously, I like the Western feel to it because it's something a little bit different compared to those two other movies.
That's right. I was intrigued with the Western aspect of it, because when I first put this on, I was curious, because again, back then there was no spoilers. No one could tell you anything about it. They just say, you read on the back of the box and you say, all right, well, and the video shop said, Dave, it's a vampire western. So knowing that my dad loved westerns, I thought, well, that's half the battle one, so I might be able to get to watch this one with him. And it's a vampire film, something from my house. So I put it on, and immediately there was a different feel to this one. You just mentioned Fright Nights, and you mentioned Vamp, and then obviously the heavy hitter was Lost Boys, which broke all sorts of molds and stylistic trends was formed. But when I watched this, I thought, this is a gem. I mean, you've got the so underrated Bill Paxton in this. He is gold in this. But I like the guy that was playing he's like the cowboy rancher, isn't he?
Yeah.
And this is where he's like the cattle rancher with his family who have the farm and the horse ranches, and this is the western, because it is that you would swear it was a western when you see it through those eyes. The vampire thing is sort of like in the background. It's just like, what's happening? This is like I would say this was set up as a legit Western. You would see the rodeo, you would see the Stetson hats, I saw it as a Western, and I was thoroughly intrigued with the storyline. He meets the young girl in the bar, quite shy, nice young girl, and they immediately click, and I'm like, okay, this is great. And obviously, I'd read the back of the cover, so I knew that, she was like a vampire, but didn't come across as the normal vampire, though. You see, at that time, Carlos, Fright Night stayed to like the sort of true sort of vampire. The evening gown, Dracula in his evening coat and top hat and tails, the old-fashioned Dracula type sort of monologue. Lost Boys gets credited for bringing it into a modern era, but I'd say Near Dark did it first. I'm saying Near Dark did this because that girl didn't look like a vampire. She was a nice, a little bit alternate girl, nice blonde girl. He was a cattle rancher who was completely typecast. They hit it off. You have a sort of a little date in the night after the bar, and then she ends up kissing, but like biting. But it's not like a proper teeth, fangs, and bite like you would expect. It's not. It breaks the mold. It gives it more of a realistic approach to vampirism, and that's the thing that stood out to me straight away, Carlos. I was like, wow, okay, she's bit him on the neck, and there was no fangs, there was none of what we saw before. It was just a bite, and there's a blood, and then she runs off because she feels ashamed, and he's thinking, what the hell's going on, And I thought, wow, okay, this is different.
I think you're right. Fright Night it kind of follows the tropes. Obviously, the crosses, the stakes.
It does.
You see coffins, and you see sort of like homages to horror movies. This one, you're absolutely right, because I remember grabbing this one from the video shop, and again, it's like a Western vampire movie. And when you watch the first 20 minutes, I mean, the young guy, Caleb, played by, what was his name, Adrian Padastar.
Yeah.
Kind of the youngest actor. He's got kind of like that kind of Levi's 501 advert sort of male model look.
He does. He's a good-looking kid, isn't he? And he's striking, isn't he?
With the cowboy hat and the jeans, and he sees, he's in the sort of like with his buddies having a beer outside, having a drink, and obviously this kind of out of towner sort of pops up with this striking sort of short blonde hair, obviously not a local. That grabs his attention straight away, and there is instant attraction between the two of them. Obviously, he's rather forward, trying to sort of chat her up, sort of thing, and sort of ask her where she's coming from and how long she's there, and has she got a boyfriend. She seems a little bit reluctant because obviously she is what she is, but she doesn't really want to make the move on him because obviously she's with this gang, and her life, she's not really happy about being a vampire. And that's a word they don't even use in the movie. They don't use the word vampire, which again is completely different. And she reluctantly does bite him because obviously she wants to get back before daylight, before the sunrise, and obviously she runs off, and he's a bit like, what a strange sort of young girl by the name of May. So yeah, they done something a bit different, but like what you said, they brought it into a kind of like a modern era of vampire movies. Obviously, you've got the love attraction; they've thrown that in there, so that was a good concept. Obviously, other vampire movies that followed would use that sort of love interest. So that created something a little bit different in the vampire genre, rather than the old typical, universal sort of dark.
Get out the coffin at night and the state. Yeah.
But you saw daylight scenes in there and everything, and I think this movie has a very underrated cast because obviously Bill Paxton as Severin. I think he steals literally every scene that he's in. I mean, you got Lance Henriksen who plays the leader Jesse, and obviously you got what's her name, Jeanette Goldstein, who I always remember her as Vasquez in Alien. So a right old motley crew they have, and I think the vampire little group gang in that sort of van really works well.
A bit of trivia: the young kid there, he's the half brother of Jason Patric, who was in Lost Boys. Yeah, it was Michael in Lost Boys.
I didn't know that one. Oh, okay.
Different dad. His daddy's the priest from The Exorcist.
Oh wow! Awesome. Nice one.
See what I mean? When I looked at, because that kid, he's got a real look to him, and he's a bizarre acting character. He was in a film called Class of 1999, an action film, sci-fi action film, where and he was in that as one of the leaders, his younger brother of the gang. And he always had a weird look to him. And when I looked at him, I thought, and when I read up, he's Jason Patric's half brother from the Lost Boys. But what you've just said there, Carl, it brought it into real. I mean, at that time, there were still coffins and stakes and the old, the Fright Night. I mean, it was following tradition where this one threw that out the window, and I liked it. The cast was stellar, and all the gang. And I mean, I'm reluctant to call them vampires because they do not acknowledge that the vampires. They dress in jeans. Bill Paxton's got his leather pants on, and it looked like a biker, and rockabilly, and it's realistic for me. It's what you would imagine. I mean, yes, they don't go out in sunlight, they put foil on the windows of the car. And that.
I like that bit.
Yeah, and that is quite genius because they're moving from town to town, doing the killing or whatever at the feeding at dark, sundown, and they're getting a bit of a life. They're going into bars. They're drinking beer. They're not too far fetched from what we would do on a night out, Carlos.
Well, yeah. I mean, we wouldn't get up to what they did in that bar scene, which is.
I don't know, Carlos. I've seen you out on them pictures. I've seen you.
Drink number 2, drink number 3. So who knows? I mean, I love the look of the group. I mean, even though the kid, he's actually a full-fledged adult, but trapped in a kid's body.
That's right.
Which was something quite unique. I mean, at that time, I actually thought Lance Henriksen was the main star, but for me, Bill Paxton. I mean, you got two great character actors in Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton, and there's something about Bill Paxton, whether he's in a movie as like maybe a supporting actor or just a little cameo, you can guarantee he's going to have a moment, he's going to have a scene, and it's going to be something comical.
As far back as Weird Science, when he played Chet, the older brother, the camera loved Bill Paxton. He was another unsung hero. He deserved much better roles. I mean, yes, he did Twister. Yes, he was in a bit part in Aliens. Yes, he had a bit part in The Terminator. But he did his own film, The Frailty, which was a pretty good one. The Frailty was a belting film by him. But in this, he's just there, isn't he? And he's larger than life, and he's playing the role similar to how he did in Predator 2. He was a Jack the Lad, and he was a bit of a cowboy himself with his attitude. So the cast is pretty solid. I mean, all of them have got some acting chops on them.
Yeah.
So it moves on and it goes to, because Mayer's bitten him, they have to sort of drag him because he's going on fire. I like the smoke effect when he's going across the field and he can't work out what's going on. And his niece and his dad is like, whoever and they're saying, "Oh, where's Caleb? Where's Caleb? I don't think he's well." And he's like, "Dad's why? What's it?" And you could see the smoke. And when Jilly watched it, she said, "Is that off the ground or off him?" I said, "No, that's off him. If you watch the effects, that's coming off him." And then you see the RV van coming down, and the door opens, and they just sort of fetch him in.
Yeah.
But they're all down for killing him, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're all down for killing him. Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen are like, right, we got an 86, this guy, you know what I mean? And then she stops him and says, no, because he's been bit.
Yeah.
So automatically, you have to make him a pass of the little gang, don't they? So he's on he's on a probation, isn't he?
I think it was Lance Henriksen's character, Jesse. So we'll give him a week to see how he kind of shapes up if he's one of us.
That's right.
Yeah.
He had to feed. That was his thing. He had to feed, didn't he, to prove his loyalty to the group.
He wasn't sure that what had been happening. He just kept thinking that he was unwell because he wanted to get back home.
That's right.
And even May, played by Jenny Wright or Jennifer Wright, it was Jenny Wright. She said, "Well, that's not going to get you far."
Yeah,
because they were just going to track him down, and he kind of does fall for her eventually, and obviously his body's going through the motions. He's changing, but then she automatically knows what's happening, and then she kind of gives herself to kind of has a bite, and that kind of satisfies him, and then she says, "You have to learn to kill to survive," sort of thing. And then he realizes he's actually become a vampire.
Yeah. And it's like it's you can see him wrestling with his humanity, can't you? All through it, you can see him wrestling. He's faced with the task of he has to feed, and she's like saying, "You need to feed. You need to feed."
Yeah.
And there's that scene with the truck driver, you know, and she's like looking at him as if to say, "Now's your chance. Now's your chance." And because he's getting to know the truck driver, and the truck driver's a high-spirited guy who's helping him out, giving him a lift, his moral conscience is still there. He's like, "I can't do it. I can't do it."
Yeah.
She eventually does.
I like that aspect because you don't normally get that with vampires.
No. This is why this stands out for me more so than the others, because there's lots of different things in this. Lots of different elements to this one. It's not just a vampire film. It's a very well made, well acted, well thought out plot. And no, it's not gory. No, it's not like horror. But it doesn't need to be, because they diluted it way back, and there's only certain scenes where you go, "Oh yeah, okay, we can class that as a horror film."
Yeah.
The scene in the bar, you talk about, the scene in the bar, but you think to yourself, this is very cleverly written at that time, because they were breaking the mold. I know they had the Lost Boys breathing down the necks, and that got all the hoopla. Well, this certainly did deserve its flowers, my friend, doesn't it? It really does.
I think where this movie failed at the box office is obviously because I think the Lost Boys came out a couple of months before and took all the rewards. And like I say, you got the big cast there, more known in Hollywood. I mean, had one of those stars had been in this movie, who knows? I mean, I've heard that Michael Biehn was put down to play Jesse role, because there is a bit of a connection in this movie, because the director, Catherine Bigelow, eventually would marry James Cameron, and at the time, I think the year before, '86, Aliens would have been finished, and obviously they were dating at the time. And
Paxton was in Aliens as well.
So that's what happened. Them two were seeing each other, and obviously Catherine Bigelow. This was her first solo movie as the director.
Yeah.
I think Cameron was impressed with the cast that he had in Alien. So basically, Paxton, Henriksen, and Jeanette Goldstein were in that movie. They came over to this movie. Yeah. So, yeah, a good connection there. And it worked.
Yeah, really absolutely. And also, Lance Henriksen appeared in Aliens as well as the bot, didn't he? Yeah. So the stars were all, the good cast was already aligned for this film, and the fact that what Catherine Bigelow did, she drew it all back. It was more of a realistic tale rather than the traditional stuff. And as the movie progresses, I think May's protecting him more and more and more and more, and she's ostracizing herself from the group because she herself still has. She doesn't want to be part of that.
Yeah.
But she does feed to stay alive, obviously, and she does fall for him, and she wants to be with him, and she wants to protect him from the others, which is the theme all the way through this thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's got such a nice charm to this film, Carlos. I mean, back in school, as soon as Lost Boys got released, it was all Lost Boys, Lost Boys, Lost Boys. But I'm glad I saw this before Lost Boys. I don't know how or what, the gods was in alignment somewhere, because I saw this one first, and this for me was the game changer. Lost Boys still had the coffins and the stakes, but they had Spellman and Haim, and they had Keith Sutherland and Jason Patrick and all those good-looking young people in that one, and it looked like it related me more to like the bikers, because that's how I grew up. I grew up on dirt bikes. I grew up with my sister's friends who were 5-6 years older than me. They all had motorbikes. I got a motorbike, and I used to hang around on the waste ground. And so we were like the Lost Boys, but obviously not vampires. But we looked the same. We liked heavy metal. We liked this cross of motorbikes. We liked the horror films. We liked the music of the heavy metal of the day, the Motorheads, the Iron Maidens, the early Metallica stuff, Sax, and all that stuff was what I grew up on. So I related to that, to Lost Boys. Yeah. However, I did like the simplicity of Near Dark.
Yeah.
I did like the fact that there was no fangs, there was no green eyes, there was no big Buffy the Vampire Slayer style makeup changes like there was in Fright Night and Vamp and those films. This one, there's none of that, and I like it for that. It humanizes more. So the vampirism in this is really, it's on a class of its own. That's where no vampire film can touch this, Carlos, because there's no contacts, there's no fangs, there's no coffins or big long nails or the fog and all the stuff that we see in even Lost Boys has all that stuff.
Yeah,
this doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see the vampire power till you get to that bar scene. I mean, it's a great scene because they literally destroy the people in the bar. They do let one person go, which Caleb, the main male lead, he lets that person go when the guy jumps through the window and he chases after him. I think Lance Henriksen's Jesse character says, go after him, do your kill sort of thing. And there are some. I mean, the kills in that because that's like the real first taste of vampire power, and obviously that person got away, which kind of led to the following scene in the motel scene, which was a really, really good scene, which Caleb's character actually comes through.
That's right.
For the gang, because
he proves himself, doesn't he? He doesn't kill the guy. He gets he gets surrounded, but he's the one who endangers himself to get the RV, the car, doesn't he? To drive it into the motel to get them out of there, and that puts him on. Yeah, you're one of us now.
Well, he had to really, because obviously that survivor from the bar, obviously, after when they took out all those people in the bar, then they went in that motel. That remaining survivor would tell the police, which then the police would surround them outside.
There was no way out, was there?
At the motel. So he had to really prove his worth, really, because again, it was kind of his fault. And great scene. I enjoyed that motel scene.
The bar scene, though, Carlos. The bar scene was the only scene. And I think, the one with Bill Paxton when he's talking to the waitress. When that's the only scene of horror, I would say, in the film, really, where you actually see that they are villains. You know what I mean? The way they do that. You know what I mean?
That was quite shocking. Obviously, Diamondback, who plays kind of like the girlfriend to the Jesse character. Because Jesse's kind of like flirting with the waitress, which Diamondback doesn't like, and she takes out the waitress in pretty quick fashion. That was quite shocking.
But it's not how you picture a vampire killing somebody, is it? It's just not. I mean, this is what I love about this film. This is where this film stands on its own. This is its own film. And no other vampire film can compare to this, because this, again, it's pulled back. I mean, it's a powerful scene, but it shows you the gang politics. This gang has been doing this for a long, long time. You know what I mean? So this leads on to the motel scene, which, again, he has to prove himself. He's got him in this,
I enjoyed that scene because obviously, without giving too many spoilers, he jumps out of the window, and again, it's daylight, and he's getting burned, and the bullet holes from the police, they're shooting holes of daylight, and the vampires are getting burned, and that was good in the way that they did that. You see the burns, you see the vampires getting like their skin burned. I like that. And obviously, he's thrown the blanket as he's come running out of there, and he brings the van over. And then they escape, and he wins them over. At that time, which then you do get to another motel scene, which his father and I think it's his sister,
younger sister,
they've been on the lookout for Caleb, going through various petrol stations, showing a photo. He's been missing for a couple of days, and it's only the detention of the trapped adult in the boy.
The kid,
he catches a glimpse of a young girl who's putting money in a phone box or something, and then he asks her to come over to watch TV in their room, and obviously Caleb's there, which is pretty interesting kind of standoff because the father, he pops up as well.
And I think that scene for the kid, he wants another kid to turn to be another kid, and when you see, you think, oh no, that's Caleb's sister. And then they're watching TV where they're playing cards in the background, and then they said, "What room is your family in, kid?" You know what I mean? And I said, "Oh, he's in such and such a thing," and I'm not sure whether they're gonna kill the person or they just want to send her back there when but it's the kid that doesn't want her to leave. And he said, I want to turn her. And they're saying, no. And that's when Caleb's dad comes in, doesn't he? And Caleb's there, and he's like, wait a second, this is my actual family. And then Bill Paxton's character just jumps around then, doesn't he? He takes over. But there's a bit of information that Caleb gets out of Jesse in the film.
Oh, yeah.
About how old he is and where he's been. And you get a glimpse, don't you? Jesse actually speaks to him and tells him about the Civil War and that, which is quite a nice scene. It gives them some depth to him as well. Where
absolutely.
For the first time in the movie, you get Jesse actually talking like a human and remembering the human side. Do you know what I mean? And there's that glimpse of his humanity comes out because he's talking to Caleb there, and he says to him, "I'm only doing this because you did, you know what I mean? You did right by us. You know what I mean?" Yeah. It's a nice little scene that between Lance Henriksen and Caleb.
I enjoyed that standoff scene because you just didn't know how it was gonna go. Obviously, I didn't think that they were gonna, I'd say, kill the little girl, but you kind of sort of think, well, how does this work out? And obviously, the door gets kicked open and it's daylight, so they do sort of escape. And then, I think for the majority of the rest of the movie, it's kind of like they're trying to get Caleb back because obviously he's turned, and obviously he doesn't want to go back to them. And then obviously they kidnapped his daughter. I thought it was a little bit rushed in how he was a vampire. They sort of made him turn back to human, which kind of was a little bit speeded up a little bit because he had some sort of like a transfusion, and
that's right, yeah.
It was a little bit kind of rush, sort of like DIY transfusion sort of thing.
I was going to say that again is another first. I mean, it's a bit of a spoiler, but it is a first for these films, making him back to human. And again, I think like the final scenes, where they're chasing him, and they're all the maze burning, chasing, but Caleb rescues her with the blanket and hides under the blanket with her, whereas the kid jumps out and you can just see the effects. He's just on fire.
Yeah.
And he just, some amazing effects on that at the end there.
Yeah. People might say that's a little bit outdated the way it looks, but that didn't bother me. I mean, it's not that it's really, really bad. It's just that they were thinking outside the box. It was something a little bit different. So I enjoyed that, sort of the confrontations to the end of the movie. Obviously, May and the Caleb character, it was always kind of, they were always going to have that little bit of a happy ending, no matter which way it was going to go. But overall, I think this movie is a real underrated sort of vampire gem. I mean, Fright Night, yes, for me, Fright Night is the better out of these movies that came out one after the other. Fright Night, Lost Boys. Obviously, Lost Boys has got the star power, the Warner Brothers production behind it. But for me, the storyline and like they try to do something different. I mean, me being a huge Western fan, I really enjoyed the concept of this. They try to do something a little bit different rather than following the usual tropes of previous vampire movies. It was something fresh.
I prefer this to Fright Nights. I mean, I've got a soft spot for Vamp because of Grace Jones. But this one, it is more of an original film than the rest of them. So I like it for its own merits. I mean, Lost Boys, again, did the big Warner Brothers production with all the cast and that, and it is a fabulous film. But this one's an unsung hero, I think.
Yeah.
And I think we do get a happy ending we do get the happy ending that we wanted. I wasn't sure whether we were going to get that or not at one point with the seeing what we were seeing. But we do, which is always a good film, always a good end to this film. because I think it needed that upending. This film.
I get that. I also think that the soundtrack by Tangerine Dream doesn't get
I forgot about that.
Doesn't get mentioned enough because, all right, it's pretty 80s, but it was quite unique.
Yeah, Tangerine Dream, though. I forgot that they did the soundtrack to that. They're a classic group, classic albums they were. You know what I mean? And so that's another element added, which I totally forgot about.
Yeah.
Because some of the kills, some of the end scenes, when the fire scenes at the end, the Tangerine Dream score really comes into its own there.
Yeah.
And it sells it perfectly. So that heightens the performance. Yes, it was low budget, but it was all practical effects.
Yeah.
It's a win-win-win. And again, it did something that the other vampire films didn't do. It tackled the daylight. And you see what happens in daylight fully. Not just a quick and that. You see the torture, you see the horror, you see the pain of what they go through. You know what I mean? It was only till probably 30 Days of Night that you saw a similar ending with the fire when he, you know what I mean? And I mean, great film though, Carlos. This
underrated. It's just a shame it just didn't really receive its rewards in box office. But it's got a cult following. This movie, there's no doubt about it, and it's definitely an underrated gem for me. I mean, like I say, it's got a lot going for it. I mean, I think a lot of the people who are going to discover these vampire movies are always going to hear about Fright Night, The Lost Boys first.
Yeah.
This one, it does need to be out there. I mean, this is news that I've heard. I've heard that Near Dark, I mean, this is the UK Blu-ray. Yeah. There is negotiations with Studio Canal about getting this movie on 4K. I heard
that'd be good, yeah.
I heard that about a month back.
Right.
And it would need that because, I mean, this is the UK Blu-ray and this was pretty pricey and hard to track down.
Yeah.
So maybe a 4K sort of fancy edition release will get the movie out there for new fans and give it some more love. It needs to because it's an underrated.
It deserves it. If you like a vampire Western film, I mean, it's like it can tick all boxes, but it's just the fact that it's not the typical vampire film that sells it for me. I look at that and go, I buy that more than Lost Boys. I buy that more than Fright Night. I buy that more than Vamp because it's just 4 travelers in a car dressed normal.
Yeah,
there's a bit of quirk to him. There's no fangs. There's no green eyes. There's no change. You know what I mean? There's none of it. No coffins. None of it. It's just straight laced, isn't it?
I give credit to the director because I'm actually forgetting about her. That obviously this was like one of her first movies that she did, and she did do Blue Steel with Jamie Lee Curtis, and one of my favourite movies from the 90s, Point Break, with Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves.
That's
and then she went even on to bigger stars, actually becoming the first female to win Best Director, Best Picture for The Hurt Locker, which was something you wouldn't have thought from somebody doing this low budget sort of horror movie, how developed as a director she became. And I mean, those movies that I mentioned, they're ones in my collection, but she deserves a lot more credit because this is a really, really good vampire movie with what she's had to work with. It's a good one. It's a very good one.
And like you say, it was a shame that Lost Boys come and stole the thunder sort of way because it did sort of it damaged it quite a lot from what I remember. Because people were talking about Lost Boys, and I was like, no, what about Near Dark? Near Dark's a good one. No, Lost Boys. And I said, no, Near Dark. No, Lost Boys. I thought, but That's the way it goes, though, Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, look at the cast. I mean, you got that cast that they had in the Lost Boys. It kind of attracts the more younger audience.
Of course, yeah.
Obviously, Lance Henriksen. He's not the best looking.
No,
he's not the best looking male
lead.
lead.
Worn, isn't he? Yeah.
Bill Paxton's a little bit out there, sort of thing, for more comedic sort of purposes. I mean,
yeah.
I think, like I say, in this role, it's one of my favourite roles from his career, and also the Simon character, the dodgy car salesman in True Lies, the scenes that he has with Barney, that they're
hilarious.
Just like,
they are hilarious.
I mean, the guy, I think he died in his early 60s. A real shame. He could have been a more bigger actor. I mean, for sure, more comedic movies, because he seems to bring, his wacky side to him, and I think a lot of people love him for that. I mean, even in Aliens, he was comical.
Yeah, every movie role that I think he's even been in, even as far back as The Mortuary, when he played the villain in that. He had a goofy side to him where he was quite likable. You know what I mean? I mean, even in that blimp second in Terminator, he's a character. Again with Brian Thompson and that. So, Carlos, I think we've covered this one.
Yeah, underrated for sure.
I give it 2 thumbs up, my friend.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If anyone who's watching this episode has never seen this movie, give it a shot, because I'm pretty sure they'll find it really enjoyable and
different.
Different and quite entertaining if you love your vampire movies.
Absolutely, yeah.
Near Dark ticks all the boxes for me as well.
That has done it, Carlos. I think we've sewn this one up. I think we've nailed that one, my friend.
Yeah.
What have we got coming up, my friend? I know you've been itching. You've been chomping at the bit for this one.
Also, another horror movie memories episode. The original movie that started off one of the big horror franchises among many horror fans. So the movie that we're going to be talking about coming soon.
Absolutely. So join us. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I tell you, I said to Carlos earlier, this is going to be a short video because, but again, here we are. We've dissected it. We've talked about how, and when I do this, the things, when I'm talking to you, that there's things coming back, and I'm going, oh, must mention that, and this is how we get the video. This isn't scripted. This isn't rehearsed. Carlos has brought his structure and his routine to the podcast, and I'm just bringing my memories, and we're fitting them in with Carlos's structure, so it's working really, really well. So thank you for staying with us. And I mean, again, please check out Carlos's channel with his movie face-off. We had Predator and
Aliens
Predator and Aliens in the. You're getting some big ones against each other there, my friend. So please check out Carlos's channel. I mean, he's obviously my mate. So so go around, or we'll get the vampires after you.
Plenty of content on the channel, whether it's community posts or videos. And I'm enjoying doing this horror movies memories podcast. It's a lot of fun.
It is. So, it resurrects a load of things that you wanted to say, but you've never had the chance to say. So.
Yeah. I mean, like, people might be surprised that, like the regular content that I do, they probably might not think that I know horror, but classic horror movies, 70s, 80s, and 90s, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
The horror genre is kind of a little bit on the up with some great movies that we've had recently. So definitely more horror movies out there. So check out more podcast episodes on this channel.
Cheers, Carlos, for joining me again, and we will see you next time. Carlos ended it perfectly. Cheers, everybody.
Take care, guys.